Hey guys, this is Cats Against Humanity. I'm the one writer, joined by your host, Setzaroth,
Yo.
Jason Voorhees,
Yup.
and Johngie.
Shalom.
The Johngie.
I feel like tomorrow will be, or wait, today's Saturday, so day after tomorrow will be a special day. I'll be marking my calendar forever and celebrating it almost like Christmas. Um, it'll be like a mixture between Christmas and Burning Man, but instead of a giant straw man, it'll be a giant MVP symbol that we burn ceremoniously every year on the 18th of April. Although I feel like there's going to be less naked people because I've seen all those pictures from the MVP trip and none of those people should be naked.
Except for that one girl that posted at one time. I forget what her name was, and then that kid, whatever that kid was, posted that GIF.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that, but I just. So the MVP program is closing. Ryder, what are your thoughts on that? Even though everyone who is ever going to watch this probably already knows what your feelings are, but explain anyway.
So for myself, since I'm still an MVP, it came as a surprise because I didn't know if I don't know. I've been a little slowly inactive, I guess you would say. Some people know me as the info thread guy, and I was making tons of that stuff. And I
Pretty sure
slowly
everyone knows you
started
as
look.
the info thread guy.
Yeah, I know. But then I slowly started wondering why I was doing some of this stuff, and it came to the point where I was barely doing one thing 1 or 2 months at a time because you could tell that whoever was in charge, which we'll name as
Talimo,
man, no, no,
because
no.
that's his name.
I think someone had the best word, which is STD. It's like,
Oh
no, I'm
God.
just kidding.
All right, we can go with that.
And it came to the point where I just didn't understand where he was gonna put this direction. And with man, with Paul, he was such a great community manager, but then this other guy turns around and you have no idea what direction he's going. And now we know, as of today, into the ground.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Paul, of course, it was my understanding that the MVP program was his brainchild. So as soon as he left or announced that he was leaving, I saw this coming a year ago. I'm pretty sure no, most active members did who paid attention and knew who was in charge of what. So yeah, at least when he was around, he would like, if someone asked, what the heck's going on, he's like, well, I haven't posted, but this has been my thoughts and our plans, and he would, at least let us know, like, what the ideas were. But then none of them, not only did none of them happen, basically, but when this new guy got in charge, nothing happened, period. Like, less was happening than what was already going on, which is really saying something because it was kind of stagnant whenever I joined, like 2 years ago, I think it was. So,
Well, yeah, like Paul had a roadmap he would kind of show hints of every now and then, and as soon as he was gone, that left with him.
hmm
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, the roadmap, Talimo used it as toilet paper and was like, huh, what was that? Well, now what do I need to do? Oh well. I think I'll just brush it under the rug like all of my other failures. I'm gonna have to get a pretty big rug. And just ignore this, yep. And then yesterday it gets announced that the MVP program's shutting down. So, yep.
And for
Pretty.
for anyone who's kind of listening, there was a recruitment of about 1,000 people, and I think the plan was to kind of expand a little bit into other areas outside just the PlayStation Forum.
hmm
And so there was certain instances where we were going to be given, and I think it was said beforehand, which was more surveys. We were going to give chances to enter betas, firmwares, and everything like that. Um, we were going to have an expanded, if anyone remembers, which I think is going to die eventually, the forums. We were going to have more HTML access to do some more creative things. And as soon as Paul had left, like, I and Johngie jokes all the time, like, only a few people have HTML access, which is just the MVPs for some of them, and a lot of the rest of us get like anchors and a couple other things that are even heavier HTML access. And with the MVP stats kind of getting ripped out of from almost everyone who has it, we're basically going to be given basic HTML access. And so I think having 1,000 people under one person, when I think before Paula left, we had Mochu and a couple others. It could have maybe been possible, but I think that adding 1,000 people diluted the whole entire pool.
Yeah, when they added a lot, my problem wasn't the number they added, it was that they added people that didn't care outside of,
Yeah.
I think John, you put it,
Yeah,
hey, free stuff, was
that's
the way you put
exactly
it.
it. Because it's not the fact that they expanded so large; it's the fact that they expanded predicated on their ads that were, join us and go to E3 for free, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they
Which,
didn't
yeah.
That was a
get
bad
the
way to do it.
applicants that they wanted, that they should have.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself wasn't even bad. It's that they didn't vet any of the applications. It was like first come, first
Mhm.
serve. So if they had been like, hey, come to E3, I'm sure they got tens of thousands of applications, so it wasn't, it was just a bad premise to begin with, because they were understaffed. It's all they can do to moderate a forum that's barely active, let alone go
Mhm.
through, because it's the same team of people. I know Paul himself was going through them by hand at the time. So I don't even know how they were supposed to even begin to do that.
Like the hand selecting and everything.
Yeah. So, and there was a handful of people, and we all know who it is, that once we saw it, we were like, yeah, something is definitely going on. So, yeah, that was pretty much the beginning of the end. That last wave they added.
And there was like so much potential for the PlayStation MVP program that they just freaking wasted by giving freebies out to people. And even when people who are in MVP form, it's like they're mostly and they're mostly just trying to go for the free games and then trying their best to find out how they can get tickets to E3. And it was just the wrong way to even approach that whole ordeal. And I just it's just a fitting it got all squandered to nothing. And there's some MVPs that do a lot behind the scenes and do a lot for the community that are either unrecognized or um, just totally just thrown out the window as soon as opportunity comes knocking. So it's awful. And for a lot of people who we kind of have like threads out there on the actual PlayStation forum, people think that we're upset or like we don't think the MVP program shouldn't be there. It's just that the leadership just wasn't there at all after Paul left.
Yeah, between the lack of communication and mouth
Hmm.
breathers who decided to leak every little bit, even stuff that wasn't even
Yep.
news, they were just showing that they couldn't be trusted with information. That's pretty much when it died. So
Yep, it stumped our growth.
yeah,
The lanyards, the E3 lanyards. Never
Oh
forget.
man,
Never forget
Oh,
the
man.
E3 lanyards.
I think that's
Lanyard
what almost burned us.
Almost burned you? Yeah, I'm
No,
pretty
no,
sure
at the time frame
Well,
before
here's
like
the deal. Yeah, I mean,
Dude,
it hit at a
MVPs were
really
literally
bad
the
time.
laughing stock of the internet.
The only problem is that, it gave people an avenue to complain about something that wasn't even a real issue. But all the people who got butthurt by MVPs were like using that as the scapegoat. As, oh, look how bad they are. It was like 4 people
Yep.
out of the like 50 that were there that year, or 20. Even if it was 10, 3 or 4 people out of the bigger group is just that's not a good. Especially when there's like 1,000 at least. I think there 1,100 was the last count. But yeah, that was definitely hilarious once that happened. And then that
yeah,
one
a few
forum,
bad apples kind of rooting for the rest of us.
Well, I mean, that's kind of shame on you because this whole time you've been doing free work for Sony. You should have stepped up to the plate at this moment too and been like, hey, you know what? Maybe you should take your hand out of the trash can and you should put the lanyard down and just walk away, okay?
Well, to be fair, whenever Sony doesn't give you anything for doing anything, you start dumpster diving. They were essentially homeless volunteers of the PlayStation community.
What are you talking about? They gave you an opportunity to broadcast everything PlayStation on your YouTube channel and your Twitter page.
Yep.
Hey, you know those
That's
advertising
literally all
deals
you
that
ever
usually
needed.
cost us tens of millions of dollars? Can you do that for free and just thank us for the honor? That will be your payment.
Can we party with some shitty indie developers and give them pennies to the dollar for their product to give to our people for free so they could advertise our console?
And what's hilarious is Tolima went in there the first week, and I shut him down as soon as he said this. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And because he was like, he created a Google Doc spreadsheet. And if I find the link to it, I'll post it in the description for this video. I don't know if I still have it. They had a spreadsheet where they wanted you to track all of your activity across all of your channels of social media: Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and whatever else is out there. And they legit wanted you to go through all of your metrics and post it. And I was like, that's literally a full-time job. Unless I'm consistently getting codes for, highbrow games and passes to go to basically everything, I'm not going to spend 8 hours a day tracking my metrics, because that's what it would take, because I'm active on everything. And he's like, it's only about 5 minutes, and I was like, maybe the way you do your job, it's only 5 minutes, but if I was to actually try, it would take way longer, buddy.
The metric system was so flawed, and you can sort of see what he was trying to do to figure out how many people could, what more active people could advertise for the games that he was providing. But it was so cumbersome to even bother doing that tracking. It was like, oh, use the tracking tool. Oh, use the doc. And this is just a waste of my time. This, it was just awful.
Well, and not even
despite
that.
being based out of the forums, he didn't even count forum activity as a metric.
Yeah.
Oh, Setzaroth
Yeah.
has 20,000 posts. 90% of them were based on games or discussing games. Doesn't count. Yeah, what a retard, man. Not to mention, I would make posts that would get attention outside. Like the time I made a thread about Dragon Age, I was complaining about the microtransactions, because I went through a phase of doing nothing but complaining about microtransactions. Still kind of in that phase. Anyway, I made a post to Angry Joe, and he recognized it, and he retweeted it, and my post got 16,000 views in an afternoon. And everyone thought I view-botted my thread, because I've been known to do that, I guess. I don't know what their logic is on that, but yeah, so I was actually doing things and bringing traffic in, but no, that doesn't count. I'm Tolimo and I'm helping, except you're not, because the program closes 2 days from now. So yeah, it was hilarious that didn't count. And what was funny is there was only really 1 or 2 MVPs who had significant, I guess you could call it, influence outside, and that's Retgar and one other guy that kind of has a Twitch following. I think Retgar's the one. Is that... You would probably know better than I do. I'm pretty sure Retgar is the one that has... Because he's got the whole Rec Nation thing.
Yeah.
He's got 200,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube. I'm not sure which one is more successful, his Twitch or YouTube, but I know he has a consistent following. And, and Grindhead Jim has a little bit of a following too, but he quit going to the forums forever ago because he got tired of having people disagree with him, so... And we all know how badly that hurts. So... yeah. Yeah, there was really nobody, so I don't know what his end game was with, hey, metrics, because 3 of you use this to any degree. Yeah.
And while I might be divulging maybe too much information, it doesn't even matter anymore. But there's
Ryder, whoa, slow down, Ryder. Don't get banned from the MVP program. It's really important.
Man.
It's
you might
really
get shut
important.
Down. Wait.
So so after, I want to say, when 2016 started, for some weird reason, there was a big quiet everyone was trying to get in contact with our community manager, and he wouldn't
Including
answer
me.
anything. And no, I mean he wouldn't tweet, he wouldn't answer anybody, and there was this big old threads. Like, I don't know, it got really bad to the point where eventually when he did show up, I think someone had asked, uh, "Did you notice me, Sensei, or something like that?" And he's like, "Yes, I do." And that's the only thing we saw out of 2 to 3 months of silence. And we're like, "Are you kidding me? Is someone from Sony telling you to not talk to us?" Or I think the writing was on the wall that maybe Sony saw that a lot of people were either jacking codes and then keeping them for themselves, or there just wasn't enough revenue coming in from people who were sharing. Um, it just, man. And what's the big kicker is when we found out about this shutdown of the MVP program, he wasn't even the one who told us. It was
Hmm.
PS Forum, whatever. And so, and then other people got emails. So,
Yeah, he's the community manager equivalent of a door greeter at Walmart that sleeps all day. Like, he doesn't even say hello to you when you walk by to go do other things.
Well, one of the problems with that fucking with the code thing is, they give you 1 or 2 or 3. They give you a very small, tiny amount of codes. What are you supposed to do with those? Because obviously you're going to use one to get the game, because you're not just going to go buy the game to stream it to promote whoever's product. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
yeah,
And then what do you do? Oh, I'm on my Twitch stream, and I'm gonna do a little quiz, or whatever little game they do on Twitch to give away codes. Okay, so you
Hmm.
do that. What, it lasts 5-10 minutes, and you give away the only other code you have. I mean, what kind of promotion is that?
Well,
Eh,
the
it's
idea of the codes
that's
wasn't to
that's a
have
misstep on
promotion, or
Sony's end.
well, the codes wasn't to be given away. I think that was actually part of the problem. It was everybody was supposed to get a code, and then everybody was supposed to help promote it by playing the game or
yeah.
sharing it in some way. And I think the
But
But I
metric
think,
is really what killed it, because they
uh,
saw that like nobody was even sharing the stuff, and so Mr. Fresh out of whatever the heck he was doing before went to whoever's in charge of him and was like, "Hey, look, these numbers. These people don't do anything," and they're like, "Oh, time to kill the program." I guarantee that's how it happened over a long period of time.
that's still a management misstep, because you're giving somebody something that they've never had before, and you're just expecting them to love it and then go, and stream it or promote it like it's
Hmm.
their favorite thing ever.
And
But
what
what
sucks,
you're giving them is crap. Like, oh, here's a free copy of Toro for everyone. Go, make sure you go stream it and get the numbers up for this game.
well,
Like, come
that's the
on,
thing
man.
is the
Nobody wants that
Sony
game.
they didn't even support the streamers. Like if they had like backed people up who streamed, they would have gotten traffic. It cost them nothing to retweet somebody who's streaming. If because
yeah,
I had tried to stream a few games, and I don't think it was free codes I got because the timing never lined up with when I was in school and had a connection I could stream with at the time. But I would stream games regardless, and on the PlayStation, and I specifically mentioned I was an MVP streaming. I was even in the MVP streaming team, even
hmm
after I got kicked out for having a harmful opinion, and the snowflakes ganged up on me. But that's a different story. Um, I would even tweet at PlayStation like they got the attention, but they would have taken them 2 seconds to retweet it and support, and then it would have created a cycle of free support constantly, and that would have been thousands of people watching me or anyone else who decided to stream and mention them, and it would have just kept building and building. But they don't even get that. There was no support on the back end, so they had a good idea initially, and it just fell through in the middle.
and I think a lot of people have this weird perception, when I think there was a thread inside PlayStation in general where we kind of let everyone know that the MVP program, and NeoGaf also did it as well anyway, um, this weird perception that it's like, oh man, great, they're closing down MVP program and everything, and that means people are just going to disperse and be destroyed, and we won't have to see these people ever again. It's this weird perception that, like, is it all people that are bad? And then, like, is it because some people don't like certain people's opinions? Like, it's just this weird paintbrush that people are just lining up across everybody.
Yeah.
And it seems a bit unfair when, in actuality, a lot of times, if we could have probably helped the community better or been more supportive if there was someone at least giving us a better direction outside of, well, I guess we'll try and figure this out on our own.
I mean, obviously, I won't take full support or full responsibility for this, but I know a lot of people hated the MVP program because of my posts, because I was super active. Like, I think I looked at it one time and I was averaging over 100 posts a day over a couple month period. And so they were, they were MVP Setzaroth, MVP Setzaroth hundreds of times a day for months on end. And I think that kind of painted a bad image, I guess, for people who don't know how to disassociate someone's opinion from the broad spectrum of someone's, from a program.
I could semi-agree with that, only if it were the case that you were the only one who had, I guess, blunt opinions. I mean, I do the same thing. I think we all do the same thing, more or less.
I mean,
it's just
Captain Albater,
whatever,
look at him. Like, he does the exact, his posting style, even though we disagree on a lot of things, like, his posting style is pretty much identical to mine. And he got to stay, and I got kicked out for...
Among several others.
Yeah.
Several others. It's honestly, it's about a 50-50 split. People who could be seen as abrasive versus people who could be seen as like, I don't know. I don't want to misuse the term here, but more or less doormats. Like, oh yeah, no, let's all just be cool, man. Come on, let's all be cool.
No, doormats.
We can all play games and yeah, I know, but.
Yeah, I'm too abrasive and I need to change because reasons.
Yeah, stop being a human being. What's wrong with you?
I think people
you're supposed to be a robot. You're supposed to post the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, or have this good attitude that everything that Sony does is perfect. Like, we all have our own opinions on how Sony's doing things, and especially PlayStation MVPs. Just because we're PlayStation MVP doesn't mean we shouldn't have our own opinions, and if we don't like something, we'll just say it, just like any normal person. Why do we have to bend over and say, yep, yep, Sony's doing great, yep?
What these plebs don't stand is that you don't have great products without feedback. And if you only have nothing but feedback, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone who's over the age of 12 has heard the term yes man in a negative, connotation. And it's because it runs businesses into the ground. If all people do is agree with you when you have bad ideas, you're going to push that bad idea thinking it's a great idea. And...
George Lucas, anyone?
Right? So when someone comes along and says, hey, this is dumb, this is whatever, this is not good, whatever terminology they use against it, you shouldn't just blindly defend, oh, well, I had fun playing it last night, so you must be a troll, or you must be stupid, or you should lose whatever status, or you should get banned and never come back, or you shouldn't have opinion, or your opinion is invalid. Like, okay, that's cool.
How dare you post those pictures of The Witcher, the super hyped game with the horse being broken? How dare you complain about that, you stupid MVP? You and your opinions?
Yeah.
Your factual opinions with video evidence?
Let's rewind 6 years ago.
Just do that.
Yeah, let's rewind 6 years ago. DLC, what the fuck is this? This is robbery. I want the full game. Oh, shut up, dude. It's just extra content. Stop being a troll. And then here we are, 2016. Oh, you want the DLC? Yeah, it's $40. Here's the other half of the game for you for $40. Oh, well, we got $40 DLC, but if you don't buy it by the 18th, we're gonna jack the price up to $50. Haha, fuck you. Like, come on, man.
Well,
this is what happens when you just blindly defend shit. Microtransactions, anybody?
This is all part of the stupidity, right? They're not only are they stupid, but then they're unable to accept any kind of criticism. So it just goes hand in hand, right? They have stupid ideas, and if you tell them their ideas are stupid, then they get offended, and then they want to ban you. And it's just, I don't know how to combat that.
Why is my ear pussy wet right now? Who is this?
And for everyone listening, this is Deckard, who has just joined the cast. Yes, you're welcome, Deckard.
Better late than never.
What's up? Did you get in here through the back door? Because I left the back door open for you, right?
Oh, I always come in the back door.
I need an adult.
You're damn right you do.
Anyway, continuing.
So for the PlayStation MVPs, for anyone who knows, they kind of gave a lot of the MVPs kind of an out. So since they're gonna be closing this down on Tuesday, they just decided to throw everyone a bone and say, well, you can go to support, and then if we think you're good enough, we'll sign you on to that. And
You
if
can go
anyone
to
goes
support
to the
where
support,
we throw all the threads we don't like and hope that they die there.
yeah. Which, by the way, a particular thread in general went that way as well.
Let us sign you to support that job that we outsource to another country.
Yeah, welcome
At
to
least on
support.
phone
Have you
call.
rebuilt the database? Well, that's all we know how to tell you. Awkward silence.
Did you turn your router off for 30 seconds?
Yeah. I don't know. I have this feeling that maybe shutting down the PlayStation MVP program is just steps into them shutting down portions of the forum now. It's like, all right, so we're going to just kill General. We're going to kill off topic. We're just going to have support. And then we're just going to put this focus on specific games, maybe, like Uncharted and all these.
Yeah,
And that's
it wouldn't surprise me if they completely axe the forums. You're going to have support, then you're going to have like 5 different sections for the big name titles that are PS only.
Yeah.
Operation Dolphin must go into effect before that happens.
So, I don't know. Personally, for the PlayStation MVP program, I mean, there's some good points in there. Like I said, like for the first time ever, I was able to actually go to E3 and enjoy myself, and got to meet a lot of people, and I thought I was making at least a small difference into the community, but then again, I really appreciated. I really appreciated Paul and Mochu, and there's a bunch of great community managers, but then I don't know, it still comes down to boiling down to I guess management is what actually brings a company to continue along, because when they threw Slimo into there and everyone else ran off to do their own thing, we were left to just, I don't know, the program was actually just left to die as soon as all of them left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Paul was the greatest. Even outside of the forums, things that had nothing to do with PlayStation, he would agree to help me with. He'd help me on projects for school and things like that, and he'd answer questions I had about career paths, and then switch over and dead in the middle of E3. You know how busy he would get in E3 because he'd usually go. He would respond to emails in 24 hours, even though he had a million things to do and really had no obligation to respond to me. Within 24 hours, I'd get a response from him on his email.
It's because he liked his job.
Yeah. Now fast forward to Tolimo, and I send him an email, and it's been a year, he still hasn't responded because reasons, and now he just. And at least it makes me feel a little bit better knowing that I wasn't the only one. Literally nobody could get in contact with him, so. It wasn't just me, he's just terrible at his job, and obviously didn't care about the forums aspect of it. So, or the community aspect of, the community manager, which I'm sure is just a side note. It's not like it's in the title or anything.
I mean, if you look at other message boards and forums, when it comes to community manager, you actually try and interact with the people. If there's people who have bigger access to HTML and whatever, I think a lot of forums or message boards bold certain people that they kind of have a higher, I don't know, able to do more stuff than the normal message board people. At least there was a big communication always there for the community manager, and it just felt weird whenever Tolino came on board, because it felt like he was just shoving codes to shut people up and telling people use the metric system, and that's primarily all it was. And then I'm sure all of us, whenever we went to general or we went to off topic, and some people would maybe at Tolimo to maybe kind of interact with us, the only people who would interact with us on the forum would be maybe moderation, like Stagecoach and a couple of people. But outside
When
that,
they felt
I
bad
think,
for us being ignored by everybody else.
And no,
yeah,
Stagecoast lost his freaking mind, dude. That guy used to be cool, and as soon as Paul left, he like was not helpful anymore. I don't know what happened, but I used to be able to like message him and figure out why different things were happening, and now all you get is a robotic response. It's really weird.
Well, okay, so first I want to go back to the thing that Ryder mentioned earlier, where he said, I don't remember what it was verbatim, but you kind of hinted at that you didn't feel like, I guess, you made a difference or whatever.
yeah,
I would actually heavily argue against that. There's a reason why we call you the golden child. Because whenever anybody says MVP, like, you are literally the first thing that should pop into anybody's mind. Like, yeah, that's a guy who is passionate about what he does. And so you could take what you do, and honestly, they would be foolish not to, like, I don't know, try to, like, at least salvage what you've provided for them. And I don't know, have you worked for the blog or something? But as we've seen from management's decisions already, they're probably not even, they probably don't even know who you are, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess in that sense, maybe you didn't like make a big splash or anything, but um, coming from somebody who's been in human resources and management for like the last 15, 20 years, um, when things go wrong, when there's any type of like corporate or structure or anything like that, when things go wrong, it is absolutely the higher up's fault. Like, that's what they get paid to do. That's like when you go to work and you think your manager has like a cushy job because you see them like, they don't have to work as hard as you do or whatever. Like, yeah, that's all well and true, but there's other things that they're supposed to do. It's most people, and I see this a lot, most people when they get into positions of management, they think that it is just all like, rest and relaxation, like, oh, cool, I'm the boss now, I can just chill while everyone else does their work. And that kind of seems to almost be the case in this situation. Like, almost identically, I feel like I've seen this so many times, just like, it's just lazy, piss poor management. Like, you can't just take on a project, especially for a company as large as Sony. Like, as much as we've bitched about like Warner Brothers and Mortal Kombat and other realms before in the past, their community management team was absolutely spot on stellar. They were doing streams, they were playing with games with people, they were on their forums, they were active, like, they were doing their job, you know what I mean?
that's what I said earlier. A lot of community
You
managers
can't be
do
a
their job
community
very well.
manager and not and and not interact with anybody. Like,
No,
it's just not possible.
You want to talk about community management? The person who founded Wildcard followed me on Twitter just because I was talking about Arc a lot. Like, people went out of their way to find people who were, active and talking about their product. And
But that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't say that's what you're supposed to do, because that's a choice, but that's what you should do, because that's the
let's just say
most
it's
advantaged thing to do in your position.
On the pie chart of yes and no, that is on the side of something that's going
That
to help.
falls into the yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Putting everyone on giving everyone the cold shoulder for 6 months after you replace a beloved member of staff, no, that's the no category. That's almost on the
Right.
outside of the no category, which should be fired. But then again, what do I know? I'm just been in the community longer than he's worked there.
It's all just basic fails of management 101. It's easier to get something done when you ask for it, especially if you're already in a position, like a higher up position. If you're the type of person that just like throws stuff at people and tells them, go do this or whatever, you're not going to get much done regardless. But if you still ask them and you're polite and you engage with them, they're more likely to do it, not only because, one, it's their job, but two, they like you and they respect you. And that's obviously plays a huge part in this whole situation.
I mean, there's some people who it was even for the shutdown was even worse than the rest of us, because if you look at it, some people were here from the Gap. They went to other programs as it transitioned into the MVP program, and those people probably got hurt the most.
It's something Conrad always mentions as the home community whatever team that they claim was the precursor to the MVP program, which It kind of was, but it was different. I mean, I'd never even heard of that, like, home. I knew there was, like, player moderators, and inside the home community, they kind of mattered, but, like, they were never the scope of the MVP program at all. And so, I don't know. And I know all those people got grandfathered in, which, you know, may or may not have been a good thing. I don't know. Most of them weren't active outside of home anyway. And then when that shut down, everybody just went to Final Fantasy XIV and forgot the rest of the world. Or are sitting there waiting for Atom Universe. So.
No, I mean, there was something called like PlayStation Underground, and there was like PlayStation. There was like the MVP program eventually.
No, it was the Gamer Advisory Panel, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was on the forums way back in the day in PlayStation 2 days.
Yeah, it was called the Gap.
Yeah. They actually sent you free stuff and free games and actual beta, like be involved in betas, and they'd send you discs.
It was essentially Loot Crate before Loot Crate was cool.
And there's people who've been that far back and part of that program and then got into like higher levels as it transitioned into the PlayStation MVP program. And that's how a lot of people are recognized, like Deckard and a bunch of other people. And so this shutdown kind of, it may not impact a lot of us who are either out or who are in just for a little bit. There's some people who just remember and they'll look back in their early years and say, well, this is what happened. Here's where I am now. And now the PlayStation MVP program is being shut down because piss poor management, really bad apples that showed up. And then, I don't know, if I was in their shoes, I'd be like maybe a little upset that this is happening.
It's not even the bad apples. We can't blame the bad apples.
No. That's why I said. That's why I first mentioned piss poor management.
I can't let this go because at my job, if I hire someone that's a bad apple, it's either A, my fault because I let it slip, or B, it's my responsibility to get rid of it. Like that's what it is. Like there is no C. There's no other option. You either don't hire, or you fire. Like it is the way it is, man. You can't have anything successful when people just keep getting complaints. And there's a difference between legitimized complaints and illegitimized complaints. Like, and that's even more especially true when it comes to something, I guess, like, or in the realm of video games, because it's all based on opinion. You know what I mean? Like, what's good and what's fun and whatever. It's all completely opinionated. None of it is objective. It's not any of the MVP's faults. It's not any of the people that came there and grabbed codes and dipped out or whatever the case may be. If that was happening, if that happened once, you should have. Anybody, I would have looked at it and I'd been like, oh well, shit, I fucked up. Maybe I should go about this another way. You know what I mean? Or maybe I should talk to those people. First, I would try to go about it another way. If it kept happening or whatever, then I would try to talk to these people like, hey, why are you doing this? Is there, what, talk to me. Let's open up some communication. Let's solve this. Because we can't have this going on because you're making our product look bad and you're here not necessarily to, be a fanboy and just love our product and defend it blindly because we already just talked about yes men, but you can't just you can't do the complete opposite of that. You just can't do it. You can't just go around and say, oh well, this sucks, that sucks, fuck you, peace, I'm out of here, come back the next day and repeat the same process. That's got to go. That type of stuff has to go. Freeloaders, it's got to go. But you can't say to someone who said, oh well, this product, whatever it may be, this update had this and it's a terrible feature and it's whatever, like you should take that into account. Like, oh, okay, well, this is our player base. These are our trusted player base. These are our MVPs. These are the people who we were supposed to bring along to get their opinion because we valued them, right? But no, they just swept all that under the rug and just kept pushing their Sony mentality. It's the one thing that Xbox had now.
Is it because they opened it up? Is it because they opened the MVP program up to people just based on criteria, like how many social media things they're involved with?
Age in it. They had people who were way underage in the program. You're supposed to be 18, and they didn't even care whenever they were little kids in that program.
See, the GAP program was cool because back in the day it was pretty much only the people who were really interested that got it. And and
Mm-hmm. It's like
man,
the
the
early
forms
days
were
of the
amazing at
ambassador
that
program
time.
as well.
But then you start opening it up to all these miscreants who don't actually really care or even like PlayStation, or sometimes they're just there to troll, and you give them MVP status, and it all breaks down, and then you don't have leadership to put them in order. And
I was really
I mean,
hoping we would have seen get an MVP rank before they shut it down.
Yeah.
Bro,
well,
man,
Change the
Sony.
Bullets was an MVP, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Sony is an MVP, right? Still?
And I can't believe what that guy ended up having to do to finally get it stripped. Like I kept wondering, like, how is this guy an MVP? How is he was insulting Sony left and right, and no repercussions for a long time. What kind of message does that send?
But as soon as you say something that's not even directed at somebody directly, you get removed. That's how that works.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to talk about how to ruin a community. I mean, they're doing it in many, many ways, and I'm I'm not even that involved in the community, so for me it's like I'm not even really losing much, but
Well, let's be
Yeah.
fair. Nobody's losing much here.
Yeah.
it's true, I guess. Well, I don't know. I mean, even when I'd only lurk from time to time, Ryder was, I knew his name just from the occasional lurking. I mean, it's a shame that people like Ryder there weren't more of that, because actually back in the day when the gamer advisory panel was on, the forums were way more like there's like 20 at least 20 different writers. I mean, there's only one original writer, don't get me wrong, but
Go-to writer.
the quality of the people was the discussions that were happening, the community was way more tight knit, but even it was quite large. I don't know. It's just different. I don't care about the forums now at all.
Yep. We'll be seeing the ambassador program shut down like this here soon, probably. With their more or less open door policy now. It's absurd. But I mean,
Yeah, that one you
that's-
just.
Yeah, I had to shake my head at that one. There was a point in time, and it almost seems kind of like maybe that's just exactly what it is, because when the 360 was, I wouldn't say they were like super dominant, but they were the dominant in the market, and they treated us like that too. The same way they kind of treat you guys, ignore you guys. Hey, here's some stuff. Tell us what you think. Oh wait, what? We didn't hear you. We did it anyway. And I mean, look at them now. I mean, that's all I can say. Look at them now. Now, at least, at the very least, Microsoft is trying to appease its fan base and trying to get all of that back in, all their ducks in line. I don't know. Maybe I feel like it's too late for Sony. They have such a predominant lead. I feel like just anybody that works for this company now is just like, well, our ideas, look how successful we are. Our ideas are golden. Like, what are they going to do? They have to have it, right?
Yep.
Offline mode.
Exactly. Offline mode.
Among other things, Share Factory and its inability to have a move clip option.
Yeah.
That's cool. They'll use it anyway. They have no other choice.
That move, the ability to move clips in Share Factory is also under Tolimo's rug.
Oh, that would be amazing. I know it's not, but that would be amazing.
I know, but no, Share Factory is kind of its own little entity inside of PlayStation, so they're doing their own thing. But yeah. Well, I can't think of anything really else meaningful to say.
So I guess we
So-
can maybe close it out with when the 18th rolls around, will any of us care when everybody's just a normal person now, and the only thing you'll see is support people? Are we gonna be okay?
Don't really care. It'll. Yeah. Well, for one,
Do you-
I won't be posting on the forums anyway. So, the only reason I even opened the forums yesterday was to read those posts that were happening. So,
Uh, uh, I think some people feel it as soon as that clock strikes 12 and everything's ripped out. The form will be all normal again, and there'll be no MVPs to run around to tell people what to do or what to say.
what's the
And
thing? I think a lot of people were hung up on the title, and they were so butthurt. They're like, "Oh, he's
yeah,
not above me." Well, that was literally never the premise. So
yeah,
stop. Like, do you guys remember when I made that Jesus picture back whenever that thing got around that people thought the MVPs were untouchable? And so I photoshopped the MVP logo on the Jesus's chest, and I got in trouble for it because people got super mad. They just lost their minds over it. And of course, Hitman in his infinite wisdom was like, "Oh, did he mean that MVPs are above people?" And I was like, "Well, that's literally what you were all trying to say," and I was making fun of it. But yeah, that's that.
yeah. Some
I
people
mean,
thought we were untouchable, and then a lot of us were either kicked from the program or we were banned 24 hours, a week, month, and you know when the 18th rolls around, people think it's going to be all different now and changed, but like people's opinions don't change. Like
Yeah,
people are who they are. So even if that title is totally stripped now, is it going to be different?
nope.
I mean,
Yeah,
so
that
I don't
was, and I
understand that
think what's his
mentality from
name,
people.
Blast Furnace made a pretty good point in that thread yesterday. He said, "Well, now that the title's gone, what are people gonna point at and try to mock whenever they can't defend their opinions anymore?"
Yeah,
So,
I think
yeah,
you'll see trolls thrown around a whole lot now.
yeah. What do you mean I can't
I'm
drink
going.
gasoline and fly like a plane? You're just a troll, hater. Yeah, that's literally the type of logic you run into in that forum.
I'm gonna start an argument with Icket Claw and then blame the welcoming community for all my problems.
Get the welcoming community shut down.
Yes.
That
Hashtag
oh
life
man,
goals.
the welcoming community can almost be another episode and a half on itself. That was hilarious whenever because I was also welcoming committee, which is hilarious. I don't even know how that happened. I submitted an
Because
application
you're
for
so
it
welcoming, obviously.
because, hey, okay, here's the thing. I can be. It's just that whenever I know who is and isn't an alt, and then I get called out for not welcoming the 30th alt who's spamming porn, like, come on. They're like, how are you on the welcoming committee? You didn't even welcome all these people. I was like, well, do you know who they are? Well, no. Well, I do, and that's why I didn't welcome them. So go away. Please let someone who spends way too much time on this forum discern who is and isn't an actual new person.
So I think what it now all boils down to the end of this episode is that I don't think any of us disliked the MVP program or we even hate it. Like unlike certain people on the forum, they feel they should hate the MVP program, but the sole reason why everything, at least in our viewpoint, is, and what we all agree on to this episode is management just totally pulled the plug on this whole ordeal.
There's no
And
reason to hate
they're
the
just gonna,
program. In fact, let's be honest, the only people who hated it, legitimately hated it, were the ones who were jealous that they weren't in it because they thought they contributed so much and they
yeah.
deserved to be in it. So,
Insert standing ovation gif.
exactly. I hate the MVP program. Why? Because that guy who made me feel like an idiot's in it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh well.
Good times. Good times. Final thoughts. Johngie, you've been silent. What are your final thoughts?
Sony is cancer.
Thank you. Thank you. I could have said it better myself. I'm actually going to ditto that myself. Setzaroth, your final thoughts?
Tolimo 2016.
Legit. Ryder, your final thoughts?
I miss MVP program, but management, God, Sony, hire better management next time, please.
Come
If
on,
you ever
Sony.
come on, Sony. In the future, think about it. Think about it next
All
time.
caps. C, comma, M-O-N. Come on, Sony. Exclamation point, exclamation point, number one, exclamation point.
In a green text box with the HTML privileges I no longer have.
Legit. Why isn't Gears of War 2 on PlayStation 4? Come on, Sony.
Don't worry, everything's all we know is the forum's going to be shut down within the year, and all the efforts of communities on the PS4 is going to be our future.
I wouldn't doubt it. They're going to move it all to Reddit. They think they have a problem now. Holy shit.
Oh, they're gonna move to Reddit? That'd be hilarious. Why don't they ask Massive
Nate,
how that's
that'd be
wouldn't it though?
from?
Wouldn't it though? Yeah.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Also, I would never use it because I really hate Reddit's layout. It's confusing and unintuitive unless you've been using it since 2004 when it came out, and it hasn't changed its design since.
Don't worry, they'll go back to Jive again.
Ugh.
Oh man.
Make it stop. Kill it with
Why,
fire.
why'd you do that? It made me taste my death
I know.
again.